News Services Division of Akashvani presents Northeast Diary.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of Northeast Diary. As we explore the fascinating northeastern part of India, each episode brings new insights and captivating stories. Here's a sneak peek at what we have in store for you today. Today we have an insightful interview with Arman Ali, a prominent disability activist. He'll be sharing his thoughts on crucial topics like rehabilitation, education, employment, advocacy, awareness, and legal aid for people with disabilities. We also have an engaging report on the official inauguration of Melluri as the 17th district of Nagaland, and also bring you a report on the ongoing effects of climate change, which are severely impacting Meghalaya's water resources. But first, let's hear from our Aizawl correspondent, Isaac, as he brings us a special report on how Valentine's Day in Aizawl took on a deeper meaning this year. Couples gathered at the Dorpui Multipurpose Center for a mass blood donation camp. This tradition, which started in 2010, has continued to grow, with many people choosing to express their love through selfless giving. Stay tuned for more on how this heartwarming act of kindness is spreading across the city.
In Mizoram, Valentine's Day transcends mere exchange of red roses or chocolates. Here, youth pledge not just their affection, but their very life force, offering their own blood as a profound expression of love for their fellow beings. This beautiful tradition took root in 2010 when the popular TV personality Chuaujik Pui, alongside a few kindred spirits, initiated the gesture by donating blood on Valentine's Day with a theme, Blood for Your Valentines. Subsequently, in 2011, the torch was carried forward by the Association for Voluntary Blood Donation, AVBD, igniting a movement that continues to flourish with each passing year, spreading love and hope throughout the state. This year's contribution amounts to 402 units of blood under the resonant theme of Sow Love, Give Blood. This Valentine's Day serves as a poignant reminder of the profound impact of selfless giving, said one of the donors. She praised the tradition of extending love beyond mere gesture of red roses, emphasizing the life-saving significance of blood donation. Exhibiting love towards strangers is a noble example of Valentine's Day compassion. Let us uphold this tradition and keep its spirit alive, remarked as she herself took part in the blood donation.
I am very happy to be a part of Valentine's Day blood donation. Donating bloods for others gives me sense of pride, and this is also in tandem with the teaching of scriptures. I am thinking of participating again of this type of blood donation in the future.
For Northeast Diary, this is Isaac from Akashvani, Aizawl.
In a significant development for Nagaland, Melluri has now officially been inaugurated as the state's 17th district. Known for its rich cultural heritage, breathtaking landscapes and vibrant communities, Melluri's elevation to district status marks the beginning of a new chapter for the region's growth and progress. Let's hear more from our Kohima correspondent, Mary.
The official inauguration of Melluri was done by Chief Minister Nipir Rio at a grand ceremony on February 21. Referring to Melluri as the land of fortunes, Mr. Rio emphasized that the day marks the beginning of a new era of growth and progress for the region.
Welcome to Melluri district, land of fortunes. Today, we have got a new district. Yet, continue that brotherhood, oneness among yourselves and with the rest of the Naga tribes. I have heartfelt congratulations to you, and this new district is a new beginning. Let peace, unity prevail so that prosperity and development with the endless opportunities for all of us to work and prosper.
An SDMA advisor, Nuseto Nyute, who is elected representative from 20th Melluri Assembly constituency, highlighted the advantages of Melluri's strategic location.
The creation of Melluri district is a historic moment, as it is located in the most strategic part of Nagaland as the Inter-East is founded by Myanmar and the shortest connectivity to the Southeast Asian country.
On the occasion, Parliamentary Affairs Minister KG Kenyé urged the people of Meluri to be ambassadors of peace and unity.
And you are the corridor for our state. You will provide the gateway for this state, for the northeastern region, and for the entire country. So you will be playing a very pivotal role in all senses, social, economic, political, religious, cultural, in balancing a relationship between two nations.
Meluri, the youngest district in Nagaland, is home to the Pochuri tribe with a population of about 30,000. Carved out of Pek district, Meluri district comprises 31 recognized villages with the headquarters 166 kilometers away from the state capital, Kohima. Meluri is blessed with natural resources like limestones and decorative marble stone. The district shares boundary with Manipur state in the south and international boundary with Myanmar in the east. For Northeast Diary, Mary, Akashvani News, Kohima.
Now let's go on to Meghalaya, where climate change is severely affecting the state's water resources. Over 740 critical water resources are drying up, despite extensive efforts from the state government. Here's the full report.
In a growing crisis, over 741 critical water sources in Meghalaya are rapidly drying up, severely impacted by the adverse effects of climate change. Despite the state's significant efforts such as injecting record funds into water conservation, implementing a comprehensive water policy, and hosting a first-of-its-kind conclave, the situation remains dire. Public Health Engineering PHE Minister Marcus N. Marak attributes the drying of water sources to the broader effects of climate change. He highlights that the issue is widespread, with all state ministers raising similar concerns about vanishing water bodies during the recent second All India Water Ministers Conference in Udaipur.
Water sources drying up issue is related to the climate change impact. Because of the climate change, it is being happen everywhere. Very recently, 18th and 19th of February, we had a second All India Water Ministers Conference in Udaipur. There also, I've heard from all the state ministers. Everywhere it is happening. So it's an impact of climate change. So therefore, not only in Meghalaya, it's happening all over the country and all over the globe.
The government has initiated corrective measures focusing on rejuvenating springs and water sources in critical areas. The PHE minister emphasized that positive results are expected in the coming years as efforts to restore these vital resources intensify.
We have started taking corrective measures, a couple of years after we will get the result. So we have started the rejuvenation of the springs and then water sources wherever it is drying up. And very recently, PHE department has identified 741 critical water sources.
Under the leadership of Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma, Meghalaya has also formed a climate council committing to restoring these vital water sources. However, Minister Marak pointed out that the drying of water sources is also impacting the implementation of the Jal Jeevan Mission JJM projects.
Under the Honorable Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma, Meghalaya has formed a climate council. So in that climate council, it has been decided that this particular critical water sources, which has been identified by the PHE department, corrective measures are being taken up for that matter. Most of the JJM projects, wherever the villages are not getting water, it's because of the sources drying up. So we are taking all the measures, definitely, but it will take some time.
The minister also underscored the government's focus on rainwater harvesting, both for household use and to recharge groundwater reserves.
There's a slogan given by the Government of India, catch the rain when it falls. So we are following that principle, and then we are trying to rejuvenate our streams and sources. We are planning to go for a rainwater harvesting. There are rainwater harvesting in two ways. One is to harvest for yourself inside your houses, and then the other is to recharge the groundwater. Only if we rejuvenate the springs sources, then only the flow of the water in the rivers will be there.
Meghalaya, which is home to Mawsyn Ram, the wettest place on earth, should theoretically never face water shortages. However, experts point to ineffective water retention deforestation, and high runoff as key issues, resulting in the disparity in water availability across the state. While the financial resources and policies are in place, the state is still facing a critical situation. This is a pivotal moment for Meghalaya, where action and results are urgently needed to ensure water security for its people. This is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with Lamfrang Nongspang, reporting for Northeast Diary from Akashvani News, Shillong.
Enchanting folktales of Northeast India. Listeners, today we invite you to delve into the captivating world of Karbi folktales, an integral part of the cultural heritage of the Karbi tribe. Nestled in the verdant hills of Assam's Karbi Anglong district, the Karbi people have long thrived amidst the lush forests and rolling plains of the region. As one of the major ethnic communities in the northeast, the Karbis have preserved their traditions, beliefs, and way of life through generations, often encapsulated in their rich tapestry of folktales. In the absence of written records, these folktales serve as the primary vessel through which we can glean insights into the early history and cultural evolution of the Karbi tribe. They offer a window into a world where humanity's existence intertwines seamlessly with the rhythms of nature and the land. We have Manoj Mainkar with a story entitled Inglong Maker.
A hill stands high even today at Dimarua. Its name is Inglong Maker. In Karbi language, Inglong means hill or mountain and Maker means a burning flame. Thus, the full meaning of Inglong Maker is Burning Flame Hill. A Karbi folk song tells of an interesting story as to why this hill is called Burning Flame Hill. Once upon a time, the Karbis lived in the Lumsang or Langpi hills of Dimapur. They had to remain as subordinates under the Kachari king, who unleashed a reign of terror on the former. They were sacrificed before gods and goddesses. The Kachari king had tamed a tiger cub. The king even ordered to feed it by milking the breasts of Karbi women. One day, while royal employee Kleng Dung went to milk from the breasts of one Karbi lady, Rang Parpi, she felt overwhelmingly ashamed and flying into a rage, hit his head with an axe, cutting it into two. The news of Kleng Dung's death spread across the Kachari kingdom like wildfire. The king, getting heavily angry, ordered his soldiers to drive away the Karbis from Dimapur. Armed with the royal orders, the soldiers too began to drive the Karbis away from one side. A group of Karbis, under the leadership of Karbi heroine Tumung Pusung, began to flee towards Dimarua. While fleeing, they kept chopping off the gobar sotas, plantain trees, and the four parts of bamboo trees. These trees turn dry and black after they are chopped. In case of plantain trees, their shoots gradually get longer and longer. The motive behind such chopping off was to make the Kachari soldiers think that several days ago the Karbis had passed through this route. Fleeing that way, the Karbis reached Langpi or Barpani. They had to stop after seeing the river in front. At that moment, a deep sigh of melancholy emerged from their mouths. Kapi Ili, meaning where to go. The Karbis believe even today that the name Kapili, a river, has its origin in Kapi Ili. Having no means at hand, Tumung Pusung in no time bisected the water of the Kapili with chiari of her handloom and arranged for her people to cross the river. In the group, there were two more notable personalities apart from Tumung Pusung. They were Bihal Bepo and Kleng Maker. Bihal Bepo, playing the role of a bridge, helped his companions to cross the Kapili River. At last, Kleng Maker, emitting a fire from a forehead, led the Karbis in the thick forest. But her benevolence was rewarded by the people by labeling her to be a witch, and who thereafter killed her first and then covered the dead body underneath the hills. The local people believe that even today, fire sometimes breaks out all of a sudden at that place, and so they named the place Inglong Maker. It seems Inglong Maker is still carrying its deep melancholy by standing erect in the hills of Tomra or Dumra.
So that was Manoj Mayankar, senior broadcaster, with the Garbhia story.
Welcome to our segment, Personality of the Week, where we bring you exclusive interviews with intriguing individuals making waves in various fields. Today, we have Arman Ali, a stalwart in the field of disability rights, boasting a career spanning over 2 decades. As the Executive Director of National Centre for Promotion of Employment for Disabled People, he leads with a wealth of experience. Arman's impactful advocacy work has garnered global recognition, earning him prestigious awards and honorary positions in key governmental committees at both state and national levels. Today we have the privilege of tapping into his expertise as he shares insights on fostering inclusivity and empowerment, in conversation with Neeta Kejriwal.
My name is Arman Ali. I am Executive Director of NCPEDP, that is National Centre for Promotion of Employment for Disabled People. I am based out of Delhi, but I am basically from Guwahati, Assam.
Can you share a bit about your journey into becoming a disability rights activist and your personal experiences that have shaped your advocacy work?
Hi Neeta ji, thank you. I got into the disability rights movement just by chance. I was volunteering with Shishu Sarathi back in 2001 and 2, and that was my first engagement directly with any organizations which is working for people with disability and with people with disability. And I had received the national award in 1998 by then Honorable Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee as the best disabled employed youth from Assam. And that award function was my first exposure to disability as a sector. Prior to that, my thinking was around a very medical model of disability. I thought I have a condition or a disease or a problem which is my fault, and I am not able to participate in the mainstream society because of that. After that, in the award function, I met many other disabled people from all over the country who were doing exemplary work in and around disability and other space around employment, art, and so on. And when I came back to Guwahati, I was invited to visit Shishu Sarathi, which is a renowned and very old institution working in the area of disability in the Northeast. So my visit gave me an exposure to children with intellectual and developmental disabilities and the kind of activity it was doing. And I would not be able to point out how and what happened that I got into the advocacy work. I recall that there was this Nehru Park in Guwahati which was coming up, and this was in the newspapers saying that there was a huge amount of money being spent to renovate the park to make it more advanced in terms of amenities and so on. And I thought, well, if it is being done, why not make it disabled friendly as well? And that's when I start writing to the authorities and meeting them and talking about it. And I did not receive a very favorable response in my interactions and writing to the concerned departments. And, I then decided to write to the press, and it was covered in the leading newspaper in Assam and Guwahati. And that's where I started looking at disability as a rights issue. And I look at barriers of people with disability, which is causing disability per se and not the person with the impairment.
As the Executive Director of the National Centre for Promotion of Employment for Disabled People, NCPEDP, could you elaborate on some of the key initiatives and projects that NCPEDP has undertaken to promote inclusivity and accessibility for the persons with disabilities?
As the Executive Director of NCPEDP, I think we have led the movement in terms of accessibility discourse, whether you talk about accessibility with aviation, transport, railways, urban development, the national building bylaws, the national building code. We have advocated the accessibility need of people who are blind in digital space, websites, and we have brought together a lot of knowledge around this accessibility and disability per se. In terms of railway, we had done a white paper. We have done a white paper on Ministry of Urban Development. We constantly engaged with the Smart City project. We did a lot of work around digital accessibility for people who are blind and so on. And right now, as I speak, we are trying to set up an assistive technology hub for India. It will be one of the first kind of hub where we'll have an ecosystem like the startup to promote assistive technology for people with disability. We have been running an award around promoting a universal design for people with disability. It's been last 15 years that we are doing it on year to promote the culture of universal design, the advocacy around universal design to do.
In your opinion, what are some of the biggest challenges that persons with disabilities face in India today? And how can society work towards overcoming these challenges?
I think the biggest challenge that people with disability face in India is an acute lack of understanding of disability as a rights and development issue. There is no awareness when it comes to understanding a lifespan approach of a person with disability. And this lack of awareness, the lack of knowledge about disability and the solutions that it requires, I think, isolates people with disability, and it is the biggest challenge. We are stuck on terminologies that we use for people with disability and not looking at disabled people as people first and as a citizen of this country. So I think there's a need to create awareness, a mass, like a mission mode awareness, which kind of encompasses a lifespan approach towards disability to create more systemic changes, to create solutions, and I think that would kind of remove a lot of barriers, and people with disability will be able to participate in the mainstream society.
As someone hailing from Northeast India yourself, could you shed light on any unique challenges or perspectives regarding disability rights advocacy in the region? And also, what advice would you give to the young individuals with disabilities who aspire to become advocates for change in their communities?
I come from Northeast India, and you know how it was. I think we were about 20 to 30 years behind from the mainland India. And the Northeast had its own issues. We growing up, we were infested with militancy and other agitations and various issues, flood, disaster, and conflicts, and so on. And in all that, trying to find disability into the right place, to find disability in the agenda had always been a task. But I think we have been able to find that space. And for me, my 9 years of being the executive director of Shishu Sarothi there gave me a lot of opportunity to engage with people with disability, families, and the government and other civil society organizations. And I think it was a great learning experience for me as a young individual myself. I came back from Bangalore. I left my job with Infosys and started to work with Shishu Sarothi. I was very young. And then taking this responsibility on, and it gave me that opportunity at a playground where I could be the ambassador myself as a person with disability and talk about rights of disabled people myself. I think it made a lot of impact in my life and get me that confidence that one can be from the remotest place in the world but still raise their voice and make the right noises and get noticed and get the kind of attention a subject that it requires. And the successes that I've had in Northeast across the region, traveling across, meeting disabled people and the government people, I gained a lot of knowledge, and that gave me that kind of on the ground understanding of a disability, which I have been able to continue to take it forward and voice out the concerns of people from the last village or remote part of the country.
Finally, how do you personally measure the impact of your advocacy work, and what motivates you to continue striving for positive changes in the lives of persons with disabilities?
I think, disability is a political problem and there's nothing wrong with me. So personally, I don't think that there's anything wrong with me. I come from a very blessed family. I have, brothers and a lot of friends like brothers, and I have friends all over the world. And I think they instill a lot of confidence and love in me. And that keeps moving me every day. And I think it's very important that you organize yourself. I organize myself. I look at my challenges, things that I need to plan so that I need to do on an everyday basis. And then just give my best every day. I think I'm very happy doing what I do, and this is the only thing I know how to do. So I just make it impossible for people to ignore disability.
You just heard an interview with Arman Ali, a disability rights activist. The interviewer was Neeta Kejriwal. And now listen to the devotional song Yogi Shiva Mahadev, performed by Mohit Chauhan and Aishwarya Nigam.
आदिकाल से जो है आया शून्य स्थान में वो है समाया अनंत नभ पे जो है छाया अनहद नाद जिसने सुनाया जल वायु धरती अग्नि आकाश अनंत हर राग रंग डमरू नाद से सृष्टि बनाई रचा दिव्य और भव्य प्रसंग शोर डमरू का जोर नस नस में अब रहा गूंज गूंज इस दिव्य नाद पर ब्रह्म ताल पर तांडव नृत्य करे वो भोर अनंत न आदि न अंत जो पाप पुण्य से परे रहे जो सोच की हदों तक फैला और सोच से परे भी रहे सन्यासी तपस्वी बैरागी भोगी वो गृहस्थ संसारी झूम झूम के नृत्य रचाया अगले ही पल निश्चल साया योगी ने राह बताई योग ज्ञान की भेंट चढ़ाई योग पंथ की नींव रखी और योग क्रांति की आस जगाई
With that, we have come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Do join us next week to hear more stories from this enchanting part of India. Until then, goodbye.
This program was presented by Lucy G. Chattopadhyay, produced by Vinita Thakur with assistance from Kumar Gaurav. It was brought to you by the News Services Division of Akashvani.